Stock Sniper Morning Show. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on this morning, man? I'm doing pretty good this morning. Since I've been back working out after taking a month off, uh, I'm back to normal now, doing what I do. So whatever channel you're watching from, appreciate you. It's been hot, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a heat wave going on. So if you are outside, you got to make sure you're drinking plenty fluids. You got to make sure. Me, as far as my fluid goes, I'm drinking about 2 gallons of water a day. I'm eating watermelon. I'm eating bananas, just to put the potassium back inside my body, as I work out in this heat. Because working out, I got to work out during that time because that's the best time for me, you know. And I'm not going to get up super early to run, so I got to run. And that's what I'm used to doing. I'm used to running right around 1 or 2 o'clock. So that's what's best for me. That's basically how I'm trained on my schedule. So I gotta face the heat, But I'm used to it though, So I might change it to the morning, but as of right now, I'm just gonna keep it like it is, Even though it is a heat wave, Basically, it's a heat wave all over America, man. I was looking on the news up there in Chicago. I think it's like 110. Yeah, there's a heat wave all over America. Detroit, I think it's a 111. So, man, y'all gotta. I know people up north is not really used to that heat. You gotta make sure you hydrated. You gotta make sure you hydrated more than water. You gotta make sure you're eating some watermelon. Make sure you are eating bananas, to put the potassium back in your body. Make sure you're doing that, And if you are going to drink Gatorade, because you know how I am, I'm not really a big fan of drinking a lot of sugar. That's why you never hear me say Gatorade. That's why you never hear me say Gatorade that much. I mean, Gatorade that much because, I'm kind of against drinking a lot of sugar because sugar is toxic, to the body, and it causes pre-diabetes and diabetes over time. Once you, I'm not saying you got to stop drinking sugar, but just access drinking a lot of sugar every single day. Like a lot of people drink a lot of sodas every single day. It's not good for your health over time because it builds up in your bloodstream, and you'll go to the doctor or you'll get sick and they tell you got pre-diabetes or diabetes, and that's the last thing you would want to be diagnosed with diabetes. So that's why but you can dilute it, like what I'm saying. You can, if you drink Gatorade, you can mix it with water. That'd be a good alternative. But what's up, chat? What's up, chat? Appreciate y'all for joining, man. We got the World Cup going on as they are now in the elimination rounds. Who out there watching the FIFA World Cup? Who's out there watching the FIFA World Cup? What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? What's up, Kick? What's up, Rumble? Caught a bit of your stream. When do you usually go live? Can I have your stream time to tune in next time? I usually go, well, it depends, Malik, Now I'm back doing the Stock Sniper Morning Show. I usually go live around 8:30 a.m., 8 o'clock a.m. Central. I do the walk downs. Like now I'm doing the walk downs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you don't know what the walk down is, that's when I run. Right now I'm running 3 miles a day. So I run 3 miles a day, and then I cut on the live, and we talk about a lot of different things. We talk about health. We talk about what you should be putting in your body. We talk about a lot of health stuff and exercising on the walk down. And the walk down is I do that after I run the 3 miles. I cut the live on and I walk another mile and a quarter or more for time and cut the live on, and we talk about basically health. So that's usually around 1 or 2, and then sometime I go live at night around 7 or 8 Central Time. So come rock with me, man. Come rock with me. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. So Freedom of Speech channel. So let's go over here and look at the World Cup bracket. That's what I want to look at first, Chad. As we got Canada beat South Africa. And then we got Morocco beat the Netherlands. So the next game coming up in Houston, that game is Canada versus Morocco. Paraguay is waiting on France and Sweden play today, which should be a pretty good game. Paraguay is waiting on that, and we got let's go down. Belgium and Senegal, USA and Bosnia, and then Spain and Australia. Portugal playing Croatia. Brazil played yesterday and beat Japan. Man, we still got a lot. Wow. Colombia and Ghana, Argentina and Cabo Verde, which I didn't even know that. Cabo, I didn't know that was an African country. I didn't know that. Australia and Egypt, Colombia and Ghana, Switzerland and Algeria, Congo and England, Mexico and Ecuador. It was today. Oh, we got some good games on today, chat. Let's see. We got what's coming on today. We got France and Sweden. We got Norway and Cote, Mexico and Ecuador tonight. I might go live tonight, chat, and we watch and react and hang out and watch Mexico and Ecuador. Those are the games that are coming on today. So we got a good lineup of games. Let's go back and check them out. We got France and Sweden. Cote and Norway come on at 12. France and Sweden comes on at 4. Mexico and Ecuador come on tonight. All right. So that is, a little look at the World Cup. Real interesting stuff. Who's out there? Who's watching the World Cup? Let me know, Chad. Who out there watching the World Cup? The World Cup got some good games coming on the World Cup. Okay, let's see. And as for the next round, we only got one. We got Canada and Morocco. So that game is already solidified for the round of 16 on the 4th of July. So on the 4th of July, which is America's 250th birthday, happy birthday to America. It will be a heat wave, so everybody out there, be careful when you out there celebrating the 4th of July. It's going to be a big party all over America and probably over the world. So make sure you hydrated for the 4th of July. Make sure you and your family is hydrated so your 4th of July will be perfect. So what's up, chat? What's up, chat, man? Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. This is the Freedom of Speech channel, and I am your host, the one on the Stock Sniper. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, that's the brackets on the World Cup. I became a soccer fan. I got a lot to learn about the rules and regulations, but I have became a big soccer fan. Okay, chat. Oil prices. Speaking on some things that, more serious things. Oil prices. I haven't looked at the oil prices in a while, but they're each barrel is $71. We got low as to 68. Now we're at 71. Hopefully we can get back in the 60 range. Hopefully we can get back in that 60 range. Let's see. January. Yeah, we need to get back down up in here so those prices can go back down to like $2.10. I haven't looked at the price of gas in a couple of days. So last time I looked where I'm at, it was about gas was like $3.09. We need to get back inside of the twos. We need to get down to about $2.50 by the 4th of July, which I know that, probably ain't gonna happen. But in my area, if we can get back down to $2.50 by the time of 4th of July, that'll be perfect. Okay, let's see. Shout out to everybody on Rumble, Kick, Twitch, YouTube. What's up, chat? Okay. There's a lot going on in South Africa as well. As South Africa, we were just talking about them being eliminated by Canada in the World Cup, but they got a lot going on over there. They're protesting a lot. So we're going to watch a little bit of this and we're going to react to it. We're going to watch this clip and then we're going to move over and see what our President Donald Trump is talking about. So appreciate y'all, chat. Let's go.
Whether they're precarious doesn't matter ultimately at the end of the day. The issue really is that there is this very clear economic tension between folks who are taking part in these protests, and it's directed towards immigrants of all stripes. That there are waves of these protests every few years, and the most notable have been in 2008, again in 2015, and again in 2019. So where you've really seen this anger become directed not necessarily at government, not necessarily at exploitative employers, where they do exist as well. But it's become easier to direct the blame at a marginalized group like migrants. South Africans themselves, including the government, should be honest about some of these, what they're calling push and pull factors for migration. The South African government can essentially say these issues are not something that they have influenced in any way is untrue. And I think that's certainly true of the mismanagement of the immigration system in South Africa as well. It is rife with corruption, and we've seen several arrests, just as many deportations of undocumented migrants, but also several arrests of corrupt officials who are facilitating the movement of migrants illegally in the country. Anger become directed not necessarily at government, not necessarily at...
It keeps moving in and out, according to the logistics of it and the discussions and the way they are progressing. But I can confirm that the technical meetings are still happening, and the mediators are working as go-betweens between the parties in the time being. We're not expecting any high-level Iranian officials at the moment, but as I said, the technical meetings are ongoing since Lucerne, and they haven't stopped since then.
Well, Osama bin Javed has been following the news conference here in Doha.
There are going to be a number of meetings which are going to be held here in Doha. The Qatari Foreign Ministry spokesman highlighted that this role of mediators that is being played by this country is going to continue. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are in Doha, and they're going to be holding meetings on various files, including Lebanon, de-escalation of the Strait of Hormuz, the nuclear file, and everything else. But that will be with the Qatari mediators. There's no direct negotiation that will take place between them or the Iranians. And there are no high-profile Iranian dignitaries who are expected here in Doha as well. According to the Foreign Ministry, these negotiations are ongoing. They've continued on a technical level since that meeting in Lucerne, and they are going to continue until they yield some results. Regarding the Strait of Hormuz, Qatar has reiterated its position that it wants the strait to be a free passage and is hoping that in the next 30 days these demining efforts will take place. I asked him specifically about this deconfliction line that we've been hearing, and here's what the Foreign Ministry spokesman Majid Al-Ansari told us.
There's a channel of communication that was established for that purpose, which has been used in the containment of the escalation that took place in the past couple of days. I won't go into the technical details of how that happens, but I would just say that there is a channel of communication that's been established, and it is in operation. When it comes to regional interaction with Iran, we've always believed in Qatar that regional issues should be solved by regional engagement. And this is exactly what we are pushing for right now in working with our regional partners, discussing with our regional partners how to reach that moment where it is viable and suitable for the countries of the region, including Iran, to sit down together and to put their concerns on the table.
And as there have been tensions going back and forth between Iran and regional Gulf countries, the hope here in Qatar is that there is going to be issue resolution on the table rather than in the field. As you heard the spokesman there talk about efforts that are underway to make sure that there is an open line of communication between the Gulf countries and Iran directly as well, and there are the Qataris are in contact with their Gulf partners. So it appears that the back and forth diplomacy is still underway. There is still hope that in the 60-day period there is going to be results that are going to pave the way for permanent peace in the region. Sama bin Javed, Al Jazeera, Doha.
Ali Akbar Daghani is a researcher at the Tehran-based Center for Strategic Studies. He's joining us from the Iranian capital. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. So we don't have any senior members of the Iranian team here in Doha for those negotiations. Nevertheless, we understand the spokesman has been saying that one of the key elements that Iran wants to discuss with Qatar is the release of Iran's frozen assets. Is that an indication that that money is a major sticking point, that Iran is not prepared to move on anything else, including the Strait of Hormuz, until it gets guarantees that that money is being released?
True. The main incentive for Iran to participate in the talks today in Doha with Qatar is to get its money back. The money was supposed to be released days ago, but the Americans have not honored their commitments. Under Article 11, the Americans are required.
See, that's what I was telling a lot of people in the live yesterday, that a lot of people think that the money that America is giving Iran is American money. It's not. That money is frozen money that America been holding on to for decades, probably since before I was born, and a lot of us. So you got to understand what's going on with these negotiations, and what's going on is Iran want their money. You know what I'm saying? They want their assets. You know what I'm saying? And that is a big part of the negotiations, as he's just saying. Iran want the money that America has frozen assets that has created, which has built up a whole lot of interest over these decades. It has made Iran one of the most wealthiest countries in the world. But America has those assets in possession. And Iran is like, hey, bro, you are not my parents. It's time for you to give us our money. It's time for you to give us our assets. And that is what a major part of the negotiations are. They want their assets. And guess what? I don't blame them. You know what I'm saying? Because this is like, I put my money in the stock market and my brokerage won't let me get access to my assets if they don't want to. No, I should be able to go into my brokerage account, hit buy, wait for the funds to settle, and then transfer them funds. You know, so that's similar to what Iran is going through. You know, so yeah, they want their money, and I feel them.
Required to release Iran's frozen assets, and it specifies that the funds shall be made fully usable for payment to any beneficiary designated by the Central Bank of Iran. But the Americans are setting conditions, and that is in open violation of the MOU. So Iran is there just to get its money back, and without this happening, there is no reason for Iran to negotiate with the Americans. There will be no phase 2, because still we are in phase 1 of the MOU. But this has nothing to do with the Strait of Hormuz. Why do we have tensions at the Strait of Hormuz? That is because the Americans unilaterally have tried to establish an alternative corridor not approved by Iran, and that is one more violation of the MOU, because Article 5 of the MOU does give Iran the authority to make arrangements for the safe passage of commercial ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes, just reading that line there, and you're absolutely right. It does say best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels. What it doesn't say is that Iran will be in sole charge of the entire strait. And it does sound, from what I understand, that there are negotiations still going on with Oman about managing the strait. But the way that Iran has been acting over the last couple of days or so, it kind of gives the impression that it's got no intention of sharing the strait with anybody at all, and Iran is determined to retain control over the whole thing. So the negotiations seem a little bit of a waste of time.
In my opinion, America is not going to release all those funds, because by them freezing and having all those assets, they're using those assets as leverage over Iran. They are not going to fully release everything. So that's my opinion. America and Donald Trump is not going to release all of the assets. They're going to basically treat them like they're kids. They're going to give them a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, because they understand that by America having control of those assets, they're using that as leverage to try to control Iran. Well, you want your assets? You have to give us those nuclear weapons. You can't have uranium and all these different chemicals that can particularly make a nuclear bomb. So they're using that as leverage. In my opinion, this is going to go on and on. And what I see is what's going on. They fight a little bit, then they both agree to let some of that oil out. You know what I'm saying? They let some of that oil out of that river, and then they go back to fighting again. Then they let some more out. Then they go back to fighting again, and they let some more out. That's wild. But that's what it looks like. What's going on? You know, they're not really at real war, in my opinion. Because if they was at real war, it wouldn't be no agreement to, okay, we're gonna stop fighting right now. We're gonna let some of these ships go through, and then we're gonna close it back up and go back to fighting again. You know, so it's all about a wealth transfer and all about money, and it's all about assets. That's what it's all about. This stuff is going to drag out forever, but they're not going to let these oil and gas prices go up too high. They're not going to do that. So they're going to let out some ships, close it back up, let out some more ships, close it back up. America's going to blame Iran for breaking the memorandum. Iran's going to blame America for breaking the memorandum. At the meantime, there's a wealth transfer going on, you know. But the main foundation is Iran want their money. They want their frozen assets, you know. And America's not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Trump is not going to do it. America has these assets have been frozen for 40 to 50 years. 40 for sure. So, because if I remember correctly, President Carter is the one that froze those assets way back, I think the 70s or the 80s. I got to Google check it and refresh my memory. But Carter is the one that shut it all down and froze Iran's assets, and it's been collected interest, you know, for all these decades. So that's what's going on. And guess what? Iran want their assets. They want control of all of the assets, not just bits and pieces.
No, Iran and Oman have been negotiating over the future administration and maritime services at the Strait of Hormuz. Those negotiations have made a lot of progress. Iran and Oman are largely in agreement, but those negotiations will continue. But does the MOU say that the United States has any authority to establish an alternative route? No. Does it say that ships can sail through unauthorized routes? No. The text of the MOU is very clear. Article 5 has given Iran the authority to determine routes, and Iran is the sole authority for this period of time. So Iran is complying and implementing the MOU, and it is the Americans who are dragging their feet and deliberately poisoning the process of implementing the Memorandum of Understanding.
Ali Akbar Darani, researcher for the Tehran-based Center for Strategic Studies. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
If you keep hearing them say MOU, 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 MOU is a memorandum of understanding. That's the somewhat agreement that America has with Iran. It's called an MOU, a memorandum of understanding. It's not really an agreement. It's just a piece of paper saying that we have come to the table to agree on that we have an understanding that we need to continue negotiations. That's all the MOU is. It's just an agreement that we agree that we need to continue the negotiations, to come to a common ground, to finalize a real deal. So that's what I'm saying about this. We're going to fight a little bit, then we're going to let some of these ships go through, and then we're going to close it down again. We're going to fight a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? That's all inside of the memorandum of understanding. So they fighting, but they got some kind of deal on the table where the gas prices won't go through the roof. That's why the oil prices right now are coming down to like $70. Because that's what they're doing. They're fighting a little bit, and then they let some of those ships go through. Then they'll close it down and go back to fighting. That's what's going on right now. So that's what's inside of the memorandum of understanding, the MOU. So when you hear them say MOU, that just means that a memorandum of understanding means they got a piece of paper where they'll have agreed to some things while they finalize and get all this fighting out of the way and come to a real agreement that'll really, really, really stop all this. Because otherwise, it's going to be a lot of back and forth. So that's what's going on with that.
In hand. Yes, unfortunately, my university was destroyed at the very beginning of the war, and it got back to work again in 2024. But unfortunately, I was not able to continue my education while other students were able. But that because of my truly difficult circumstances. Where I was displaced in El Brej, I didn't have any electricity. I didn't have any phone even. I didn't have enough money and sometimes for buying out my books and printing my slides. It was truly expensive for me, and it was really tough for me, being a distinguished student, to see my colleagues really studying.
Now we're over here on Gaza, the Gaza Strip. Yes, it's still a fight over there on the Gaza Strip. Look what I notice about these people, they live in horrendous elements. Look at the housing back there. But they be clean as a board of health, Chad. That's one thing. They live in horrible conditions, but they keep their body, they keep, their hygiene up. Look at her. She cleaner than a board of health. Let's keep going.
And I was not able to do that. And when I tried to make really good use of my time, I decided to read. So, and during the war, I've read more than 80 books, but even that was difficult because in order to be able to read this amount of books, I used to wait until midnight to be able to read them in quiet place because I was living in a truly crowded apartment. So it was really tough for me.
And mentioning that you live in the crowded apartment, can you tell me about this more? How many people were you sharing the apartment with?
The apartment I'm living in consists of more than 35 people. So you can imagine how truly tough this is. Just imagine, what if you want to take a shower? It will take you a lot of time to your turn to come. What if you want to read a book? What if you want to do anything alone? It was really difficult, especially for me, being someone who has been living in a single room. I didn't share it with any of my siblings. So coming back again and sharing it with my 10 siblings, it was truly difficult for me.
And Madam, what is your dream? What is the situation right now in Gaza? It's ceasefire, but it's not really ceasefire. This is what you have been telling me, no?
Yes, I feel that this ceasefire agreement is the biggest lie that has been told to the whole world. There's nothing has changed during the war. In fact, the situation is getting worse day by day, and we can never change anything. And for me, my biggest fear here is that Gaza may not be the same again. I'm afraid this life I've been living may become our painful reality forever. This is despite
80%, where they take 800,000 Palestinians are living in horrible, horrible, horrible conditions, and those areas are prone to flooding. Last thing they need is a catastrophic flooding in these areas with all 800,000 people. So we got to pray for these people. And even though they don't talk about Gaza and Palestine and what Israel, what they got going on, they need to end this and get these people straight over there, because it's about time for all that to end. Last thing they need is a flood.
That I try to continue my education, believing that maybe my university makes me feel that I still have a future and maybe we can change something.
Thank you so much, Madam. Thank you for talking to us.
Wow.
Thousands of people who lost passports and ID documents in the war.
That's crazy work right there, Chad. But she is clean as can be.
Travel through the Rafah crossing into Egypt if and when Israel eases restrictions.
I'm worried that when the crossing opens, I still won't have my passport, which could prevent me from leaving Gaza to continue my education. Imagine finally getting the chance you've been hoping for, only to realize you can't leave.
Officials say the destruction of government infrastructure and restrictions on the civil registry system have created a legal and humanitarian vacuum affecting nearly every aspect of civilians' lives.
There are ongoing factional and tribal efforts to pressure the relevant authorities, including the Ministry of Interior, to recognize IDs issued in Qatar. However, we are still facing serious challenges, and it appears that this issue is closely tied to the current political situation and the administrative vacuum created by the war.
For many Palestinians, the war has also left their identity suspended between paperwork, politics and uncertainty. This passport and this ID card are supposed to prove identity, but for thousands of Palestinians today in Gaza, they no longer guarantee access to travel, banking or basic services. Many here fear the documents are losing the meaning they once carried. Tariq Abu Azzoum, Al Jazeera, Deir al-Balah, Palestine.
Here in Gaza, the war has stripped away even the most basic elements of human life and death, including the ability to give loved ones a proper burial. As Brahim Al-Khalidi reports, many cemeteries have been destroyed in the war, while others are running out of space.
Ziad Al-Ashqar says the killing of his sons in an Israeli airstrike severely affected his wife's health, leading to her death. With no burial space available, another tragedy followed.
Now I'm burying my wife in the same place after having already buried my 2 sons, 2 grandchildren, and my nephew's son. This is now the 4th time we've had to bury members of our family in the same small plot of land.
Gaza has 62 official cemeteries. Of those, 39 have been completely destroyed. Another 19 have been partially damaged. Only 4 remain standing. That means 58 cemeteries, or 93.5% of the total, have been either completely or partially destroyed, leaving families with fewer places to bury their loved ones. Officials say that beyond the widespread destruction, several other factors are contributing to the growing burial crisis.
With the Israeli occupation controlling more than 60% of the Gaza Strip, it has effectively taken control of 3/4 of Gaza's cemeteries. Many of them have been destroyed. The burial crisis is unfolding on multiple levels. There is no land available for new graves, no construction materials to build them.
What was already an unbearable loss now reflects a wider crisis, where Palestinian families face grief without even space to lay their loved ones to rest.
Families are paying up to $520 for a single burial space if they can't find one at all. Many of Gaza's cemeteries are damaged or destroyed, and the military occupation is shrinking what little space remains for civilians. Even the dead are running out of room. Ibrahim Al-Khalili, Al Jazeera, Gaza City, Palestine.
That's all from me, Hind Al-Khudri, and the team here in Gaza. I'll be back later in the day. For now, it's back to Doha.
Ahead on Al
Man,
Jazeera,
that's wild,
the World Cup, Norway's fans get ready for their knockout game against the Ivory Coast.
That's wild right there, what they talking about. What's up, chat? What's up, chat?
Wording specifically leaves a lot of room of interpretation. For example, the article relating to the funds, which is, I think, Article 11, states that during these negotiations, US and Iran will negotiate a plan of release of assets frozen, but Article 13 says there's no start of the nuclear file discussion until there is some form of validation that these articles have started to be implemented. So even
over there in Gaza, the cemeteries are destroyed. So they're having a hard time finding places. It's so messed up over there, they're having a hard time finding places to bury their loved one. That's why over here in America, you know, as of so far, we've been really, really, really blessed. You know, just imagine we have to go. Just imagine us in America going through what they're going through in all these other countries, particularly Gaza, you know. And a lot of people are saying one of these days that these people are going to have enough artillery to strike America from way over there or where they at. So we've been blessed so far. And with this development of AI, I hate to say it, but I hope it don't happen. You know, so we blessed out here in America, you know, not to have to worry about what they're going through, like in a country like Gaza.
Discussion regarding funds, US can claim that, yes, we have started implementing the article. We are discussing what is the release schedule. So you cannot counter-argue that very easily because the writing is vague and there is poison in the writing. At the same time, we have to understand that this MOU leaves room for an indefinite stance. So we might see a longer period of time than the 60 days because there's a clause there saying upon mutual agreement, the 60 days can continue. That means while Iran in this MOU has focused on trying to get tangible results from US, money, assets, funds, reconstruction, allowance to export oil, US tried to box this playground with a fence that can encompass some form of flexibility. And we see that because these reconstruction funds and the assets unfreezing are actually binded or interpretable to be binded to a negotiation of the nuclear file. So while US gave a yard, it didn't give that yard unilaterally and in surrender. It's more like a conditional yard, which has a very loose condition and subject to interpretation.
And it's not just about the wording, isn't it? Because we're seeing activity on the ground in which both sides, but particularly Iran publicly over the last few days, has been attempting to exert its control over the Strait of Hormuz. It says it's doing so in the letter on the its understanding of the memorandum of understanding that has been signed. But nevertheless, there are more formal agreements that are going to come up at some point. Is there a suggestion, do you think, that Iran particularly, but perhaps both sides, are actually using that vagueness in order to be able to re-establish the lines of control prior to anything actually being set in stone?
I think so, and I think it has to do with the fact that there was so much pressure on both sides. There was internal economic pressure on Iran that pushed Iran into trying to get an agreement which also has some points of victory in it, which are fairly visible, but also US was under a lot of internal political pressure and international pressure, more so that Iran, especially because of the narrative siding a little bit with Iran and Iran doing a better job at, let's say, in quotations, winning hearts and minds of the public. So there was pressure on both sides that pushed them into reaching this particular MOU in order to give a substance to that informal ceasefire that started more or less on April 8th. And we see that the Strait of Hormuz and the maritime security ground is still the battleground between the two parties, and they will still try to push one another in that particular territory. And to that extent, specifically to the Strait of Hormuz, Iran is trying to actually break out of the lines of the memorandum and tries to push this, which is a bilateral ceasefire interim, not even something permanent, try to push it as an international agreement with everybody, because Iran is now claiming that based on this these lines in the memorandum of understanding, it is sole authority to take care of the whole Strait of Hormuz, which also encompasses other states' sovereign waters, but at the same time, it's basically trying to push this as a narrative to the entire world, saying we don't care what everybody else considers in the international community. This is a politically accepted deal based on this, and now we will try to administrate it, also bureaucratically, and why not try to extract some money. And yeah, that's what we see now.
Alexander Hodistano, military and diplomatic analyst, we appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Rescue operations have continued across Venezuela in areas hit by two earthquakes.
What's up, chat? What's up, chat? How y'all doing? Yeah, and that's the problem. You know, that's the main problem that's holding this stuff up, is that Iran wants their assets, and Trump and America want to use it as leverage. And Iran don't want to give up their nuclear weapons program, and it's just a big tug of war going on. Okay, let's go over here. Let's see what Trump talking about. This is what we all here for. Let's see what Trump talking about. What's up, chat? How y'all doing out there? Whatever platform you watching on. What's up, Rumble? What's up, Kick? What's up, Twitch? What's up, YouTube? We got 2 channels going on at one time on YouTube. We live on 4 different platforms, 2 different YouTube channels. Of course, Twitch, Kick, Rumble. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I am the host, the one and only Stock Sniper. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. Now we about to see to wrap up the show. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I might have to extend the show from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. because an hour is not really long enough. I'm gonna have to do more talking. I know a lot of y'all that rock with the channel, y'all want me to shut up, but you know, I gotta do more communicating. I gotta do more talking, you know. That's how we gotta rock with the show. You know what I'm saying? I have to do more talking, even though I like watching too, to get a clear understanding of what's going on, because I'm really interested in these things, but I'm gonna have to stop, talk, you know, bloop the blam this, bloop the blam that, and then continue on with what we got going on. That's what we doing from here on out. So please don't, you know, a lot of people don't like for me to stop. So I gotta pick and choose the times when I'm gonna stop and when I'm gonna roll it. So here we go right now. This is the time right here. We gonna roll it. So what's up, chat? Appreciate y'all for joining me. Let's go.
Perhaps important, perhaps not. We're going to find out. But we're winning militarily. It's almost won militarily, I would say. And it's really very simple. It's the denuclearization of Iran. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon, and they're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that, in all fairness. This is something that's very exciting to me. And if you bring the bill, and I'm going to let Lee explain exactly what it means, but it means a lot to people that own vehicles, cars in particular, but cars and anything else. It's going to save them a lot of money, and they're going to be able to do it themselves. Please.
Mr. President, this is a presidential memo to the Environmental Protection Agency, a presidential memo supporting the freedom to fix. Americans have the freedom to fix their vehicle. President Trump insists upon it. We are not going to be going after people who are fixing their own vehicle like past administrations have. Additionally, we've been concerned, President Trump has been concerned about aftermarket parts, cheap knockoff aftermarket parts coming into the United States, harming small businesses, harming Americans. This presidential memo puts an end to it. Also, the only third-party certification for these aftermarket parts, it's CARB in California, a process that's backlogged and faulty. So we're going to break that monopoly, and no longer will CARB be the only third-party certifier for these aftermarket parts. Again, President Trump is insisting on fixing it. This presidential memo does that. President Trump was calling me up on a Saturday night when this idea first came to his head, and he says he wants to do a press conference right away to get this over the top. In February 2nd, we signed a right to repair for our farmers so that they can repair their tractors and their non-road equipment, and this is covering everyone else.
I mean, think about it. It came to my attention because I noticed they were arresting people for fixing their car. They were arresting people for fixing it. That's not even...
I never heard of that one before, Chad. People getting arrested for fixing their own car. So you sitting in your driveway and you putting in the starter, you putting in the radiator. I didn't know that you can be arrested for fixing your own car. I never heard of that before. Have anybody in the chat heard of that before? Or know somebody that got arrested for fixing their own car? You know, like the shade tree mechanic. I never heard of that before. So, I mean, let's see.
Unbelievable. Anyway, so it's right to fix, and I think it's really common sense. If somebody wants to fix, some of these people are better mechanics than the mechanics in the shop. They're telling the mechanic in the shop how to fix their car or their truck. We signed the truck one a little while ago. So I'm going to sign this, and I'll be happy about it.
Shout out to the real shade tree mechanics out there. The good ones. You know, they got good ones and they got horrible ones. You know, I'm talking about the good ones. Shout out to all the shade tree mechanics out there. I never knew you could go to jail for being a shade tree mechanic. I never knew that. That's new. So if I wanted to put in a starter or a radiator or change a water pump on my own vehicle, I could have been arrested. Okay, never heard of that before.
We rule by common sense to a large extent.
I gotta look that up. That's something
All right, Lee, good job.
That's one thing about this stuff, Chad. You gotta look some of this stuff up sometime.
Can you imagine that? They want to put you in jail if you fix your car. Thank you, man. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, what do you make of the Supreme Court ruling today in regards to the mail-in ballots, and what comes next for the SAVE Act after today's ruling?
Well, because of the mail-in ballot ruling, which was a little bit surprising, gives people more time to vote illegally, let's say. But the SAVE Act is even more important, and that's the right. You have to be a citizen of our country. Okay, you have to show you're a citizen of our country, called citizenship. Voter ID by photo voter ID, and no mail-in ballots unless you're in the military, disabled, you're ill, or you're away, or even on a vacation. We're being very open about it. It's pretty easy. And we'll have honest elections. But the ruling which a lot of people were waiting for, that was a ruling that was, I think it was very detrimental to honest elections. But it is what it is. Basically, they're keeping it a little bit the way it is now. They may have a little bit of a restriction on based on the wording.
About firing a parliamentarian.
And then you have the very important one, the Slaughter case, which we'll talk about if you ask that question. But the parliamentarian, what were you asking about?
Yeah, have you talked with Thune about?
I have. No, I can't imagine why you'd keep a woman that was put there by Harry Reid and Barack Hussein Obama. I cannot understand it. The leader has the right to fire the person at will and put somebody else there. That would be, because we get so many negative rulings from her, the parliamentarian. She's been there for years, and she was put there by Harry Reid and Barack Hussein Obama. Harry Reid was a bad guy, and he was the leader, and he put her. And the speaker has the right to immediately fire her and put somebody else there. And it's not even believable that she's still there. She's obviously a good politician or something.
Mr. President, question on the Slaughter case. The Supreme Court just affirmed your right to fire the heads of independent agencies. Should we expect more firings as a result of this ruling?
I don't think so. It gives me the right, and not me, it gives a president the right to do what the president should have the right to do. And it's very interesting. It's a big ruling. It's been going on for almost 100 years. They've been working on this, and you know that it comes down at my term is a very great honor. But it bestows additional powers, or maybe the same power on the president. The president has the right to do this, and that has to do with a lot of agencies all throughout the system. So it's considered, you know, the biggest of the group. And I can understand that this has been going on for almost 100 years. They've been waiting for this decision. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. You were posting about how important it is to get the Save America Act passed. Who do you see as the biggest hurdle to getting this across the finish line?
Well, it's held up in the Senate. And frankly, if you terminated the filibuster, you just need 50 votes, and we have 53. And then you have JD. So the Democrats are going to terminate the filibuster. But if you did reconciliation, you could do it with 50 votes. I mean, the best would be to terminate the filibuster, but for some reason, but you have the same basic people. But even Rand Paul is in favor of the Save America Act, if you can believe it. Think of it. Rand Paul is strongly in favor. He's fighting for it. So that's good news. But you would have Lisa Murkowski always against things like this. Nobody knows why. I think I know why. But you have Lisa Murkowski, you have Susan Collins, you have Tillis is against, and he's not in office because of me, so he holds me, you know, because I wouldn't endorse him. I think you have Senator Cassidy against it too.
I think he supports it this time.
And I think you have Mitch McConnell against it too. Mitch McConnell, who's very disloyal to John Thune. You know, John Thune was a very good person for him. I mean, he was a very loyal person, and Mitch McConnell's against him almost all the time because he's angry, I guess, probably at me.
Mr. President?
Yeah, please.
What about Democrats, Mr. President? Are there any you could think you could change their minds?
The Democrats should do it too. I mean, you'll probably get one Democrat who's, you know, a common sense Democrat, you know, who that is. And everybody should vote for this. This is the Save America Act. Voter ID with photo, ideally, but voter ID, proof of citizenship, and no mail-in ballots, which is, to my way of thinking, maybe the most important of all because it's so corrupt. But you have exceptions if you're away, exceptions for the military, they're deployed, exception, illness, disability, you have exceptions, strong exceptions. But the cheating on the ballots, the mail-in ballots, Jimmy Carter said it a long time ago. He said you can't have mail-in ballots. He headed up a committee with Scoop Jackson and others, all respected. And he actually, I think it was Jimmy Carter's finest moment, not doing president, but he headed up a committee and he said, he came out with a strong conclusion that if you do mail-in ballots, there's going to be cheating. France gave it up. We're the only country in the world that does this type of mail-in ballot. There's no other country in the world. You know why? They tried it and it was totally dishonest. And it's really dishonest. So we shouldn't do mail-in ballots. So it's not too much to ask for voter ID, proof of citizenship, and no mail-in ballots. And you have honest elections.
What are your plans for the housing bill, Mr. President?
I don't know. I think it's so unimportant by compared to the Save America Act. I think the Save America Act is exactly what it says. It's saving America from crooked elections. And the housing bill is a bill that can get approved. They worked on it long and hard. It's very bipartisan. That means the Democrats like it. I think it's maybe even it's probably maybe more that way they're getting things that I wouldn't necessarily agree.
By the way, I wish he would go on and sign that bill, because that's one of the only bills that both parties actually really support, and they really get along with. You know, they support, both sides support the housing bill. I think he should sign that just to, you know, kind of let everybody know that, hey, we can do some things. But of course, he didn't sign the bill.
Nobody knows more than housing in the history of the presidency. Nobody did well like me in housing. I made a lot of money. I made a lot of money with housing. But when I look at that bill, it's a bill. But when I look at the Save America Act, it's about saving America. And I'd like to have the Save America Act added on. That's probably not going to happen, because we have 4 Republican senators, maybe 5, that just won't vote for it. It's crazy. Somebody, Lisa Murkowski from Alaska. Nobody's done more for Alaska than me. She's Trump deranged. What can I tell you? But those 4 or 5 people that I mentioned should vote. How do you vote against Save America? How do you vote against it? How do you vote against voter identification or proof of citizenship? The only people that would vote against that are people that are going to cheat in an election. The Democrats need it because their policy is so bad. They want open borders. They want high taxes. They want terrible medical, anything medical. I'm the one that did favored nations. I'm reducing drug prices by 200, 300, 400%. Nobody even talks about it. The news doesn't talk about it. The Democrats are opposed to it. If they get into office, they'll put it back. Your drug prices are going to go up by 200, 300, 400, 500%. You know that.
But will you sign that housing bill?
I have not. It hasn't been sent to me yet. It's coming, I understand. And then I'll make it. Here's what I would like to sign.
Please sign it, bro. You got to sign that Housing Act. You got to sign it. You got to.
Much more than a bill, big deal. It's a yawn. Some people say it's wonderful. To me, compared to...
This is the reason why he won't sign it, Chad. The Save America Act. A lot of people probably heard of it before, but it's basically 3 core provisions, 3 main things about the Save America Act. This is the reason why Trump is holding out of signing that housing bill. When it comes to, on the federal level, when it comes to proof of citizenship, you got to show proof of citizenship to register to vote. Strict photo identification, which you already got to show your ID when you go vote. Federal database checks. So to verify citizenship status. So, which is very important because it has something to do with security. I like both of them, both bills. You know, securing the country and making sure we know who's here. I mean, I think that's very, 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 very important. You know, so I like both bills. You know, but I mean, man, that Housing Act, I like that as well. So that's what Trump said. He's not signing that until they get the votes for the Save America Act. So let me get back over here. All right. So if you didn't know what the Save America Act was basically those three components right there. That's really what it's about. All right, let's get back over here, chat.
The Save America Act, just about everything is a big yawn.
And Mr. President, on birthright citizenship.
Birthright citizenship is next. What are your thoughts? Birthright citizenship. What are your thoughts, and will you accept it if it rules against you?
Well, I guess I have to accept it's the Supreme Court, so I'll accept. I think it's very bad for our nation. We're the only nation that does it. No other nation does that birthright citizenship. No, not even close. Some did it, they ended it. It's tremendously destructive. It's extremely costly. I don't know, it's up to them. But in terms of for the good of the country, it'd be great if they didn't allow it. It would be great. But I can't tell you, the Slaughter case was the big case today. That was really a big case because it gave strength to presidents and strength to the presidency. A very important case. It's been going on for almost 100 years, think of that. And this was the ruling that really topped everything by a lot today. Yeah.
Mr. President, Zohran Mamdani said in an interview this week that he was open to being the poster child for socialist candidates. Are you worried about more socialist candidates across the
Well, I think it's a big threat to our nation, actually, because it's not socialism, it's really communism. They use the word social democrat because it sounds so nice, but it's really communism you're talking about. I think it's the biggest threat to our nation there is, maybe since our founding. That includes World War I, World War II, September 11th. It includes the Pearl Harbor attack. I think this is the biggest threat to our nation. People will smile when I say that, but the smart people are going to say, you know, he's probably right. It's basically introducing communism into the United States of America. There's never been anything so dangerous. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, President. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, there you go, Chad. So if you've been wondering why Trump didn't sign that bill, that housing bill, it's because that Save America Act. You know, he wants that proof of citizenship, strict photo identification, and federal database check, background checks for Homeland Security to see and verify your citizenship status. You know, and because in the past, you know, a lot of people would just come over here from other countries illegally. They'll come illegally and then they'll have kids, and then automatically their kids become U.S. citizens. So they want to try to end that because that attracts people to cross the border. You know, a lot of people, now I ain't gonna say a lot, but some people actually do that. You know, they want to live the American dream. They want their kids to be in a better position than they were in their countries. And they'll come over here illegally, you know, and have their kids over here. Now, some people agree with that. Some people don't, because it's like you breaking the law, you know what I'm saying, now, if you do it the right way, that's different. But, you know, if you come over here illegally and then, you know, you have a kid, you know, then a lot of people don't agree with that. You know, they want to kind of try to stop that. If you come over here illegally and you have kids, they want it to be where your kids are not American just because, you know, you came over here and had a baby. That's basically what the Save America Act is. So as if, you know, some people agree with it, some people don't. Love one another, make peace. What's up, Golden Wing? Appreciate you for joining. But yeah, this is the main reason why Trump did not sign that housing bill. You know, that's the reason why. But there's a lot of different factors to that too when it comes to the housing bill, because Trump is also a real estate investor. So that housing bill and driving the prices down, that's going to make people that already got houses, that's going to make the value of their house, it's going to drive the value of houses down. So a lot of real estate investors, you know, are probably against that, because if you drive the cost of houses down, then that's also going. A lot of people assets are calculated by how many properties they own. So if you own 10 properties and those properties are worth, let's say $1 million as a small number, and this housing bill passed and these prices of the houses go down, then that's going to make your value of your properties go down. So if you own 10 properties in this example and they're worth $1 million, and this Housing Act passed and it drives down the price of housing, people that already have houses, their net worth are going to go down, basically, because that's how the value of houses are calculated in your area, by how much the neighbor's house sold for, the house around the street with the same square footage and the same basically diaphragm of your house. That's how those housing analysis are calculated, by the different prices houses sold for in your area. So, you know, a lot of people have their wealth in real estate, you know what I'm saying? And with that Housing Act bill, you know, that's going to make people that are already invested in real estate is going to make their value and their net worth go down a little bit. Not much, maybe 2-3%, you know, like that, maybe. But it also will, people that don't have their own house, it also will make it affordable, you know, for them to own a house, get a loan, and things like that, you know. So that's basically the foundation of what's going on both sides. You know, well, a 10th grader can understand it, you know. So these things are kind of complex because it's a lot, but then you got to learn, you got to know how to soak it all in and then explain it, you know, simple terms. Because what I just said about both sides, that's basically the foundation of it, you know. You know, and some people think that the president don't matter and this and that. But I just gave you two basic examples of why presidents matter, why voting matters. Two examples right there. So, and that's what it is. So I think I'm ending right here, chat. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I want to try to keep these lives at an hour, you know, but I'm gonna have to do more talking, more explaining, you know, and also I want feedback because I don't think I know it all. Let me know what you think. You know, what you think about all this. So that's what we're gonna do more communicating with each other. You know, and I don't think I know it all, you know, so all I do is put the information out there from, you know, my experience of being on this earth for 52 years, my experience of being basically attracted to this stuff. You know, I love it. I like politics. I like the economy. I like sports. You know, I like health. And that's what I talk about over here. And that's what we do. You know, so I'm going to be talking a lot more, you know, as I learn more about YouTube, more about creating content, as I learn more about how to put these shows together, you know, and I'm getting better at it, you know, because I understand that this is long term. You know, I got a long-term plan with this, and I got to make sure that I'm learning as I go. It's just a learning experience. I'm new to this. I've been doing this consistently, probably going on 3 years, and that's not long, right? That's not long. It's just like going to school. you know, in college. I'm still in school. I used to say that last year. Yes, I'm still in school. I'm basically a junior on YouTube. So it's a lot that I got to learn. You know what I'm saying? And I like it so much that, you know, so that's another thing. You have to like what you do. When you like it, then you want to know more about it. You want to learn more. You want to create more. And, you know, I had a couple of things happen to me, and I had to step back and analyze, you know, how I'm going to move forward. And I think how I'm doing it right now, you know, I'm going to move forward with it like this. We got 90 days, right? So after these 90 days, we're going to reevaluate the situation, right? And we're going to take it from there. You know, a lot of y'all that's, you know, been on this channel, a lot of people just watch numbers. A lot of people just watch to see if you monetize. A lot of people just watch to see who commented, who in the chat. You know, for those people, you know, I'm going to reevaluate because, I lost my monetization for doing reused content. What is reused content, Stock Sniper? When I come on here and play something and don't say nothing. You know, I know a lot of people that rock with the channel, they want me to just play, you know, what we listening to and just let it play. Well, I can't do that no more. You know, so after these 90 days are up, I'm going to revalue and reassess the situation. You know, I got 90 days before I can reapply to be a partner with YouTube. So I'm going to I'm still thinking about it though. I'm probably going to erase a whole lot of videos and start this all over again. You know, so at first I was like, don't care about being monetized, but I thought about it and I'm thinking about it still, is that I have to learn how to do this. I have to learn how to, I have to learn the rules and policies, right? So that's where I'm at right now. You know, I'm in school mode still. I'm in a 90-day boot camp, you know, so that's what I got going on right now. So all you content creators, always learning, always be learning, always evolve, always try to make your content better than the last time. It's all about growth and development and understanding that it's long-term. You know, this is a long-term thing. So sometimes there are hiccups, just like the stock market, right? It goes up and it goes down. Just like with selling tacos or whatever, it goes up and it goes down. You know, but I got to end this because I don't want to go on and on. You know, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. I am also thinking about moving the Stock Sniper Morning Show from 8:30 to 9:30 to 8 to 9:30. You know, because I'm going to have to do more talking. And also I want to get out the information that we need to get out. So I'm gonna have to extend this probably about an extra 30 minutes, you know, but I'm still planning out how I'm gonna do it. The beginning, the middle, the end, boom, boom, bam, you know, things like that. You know, so I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that just come and just look, I love and I appreciate y'all. Everybody that just come, you know, it's people that come just to see how many people in the chat, just to see who comment. You know, I love and I appreciate you, you know, because it's about putting out the information. I hope while you number watching that you learning some type of information, whether it's this, whether it's the walk down, whether it's me at the gym, whatever the case may be. You know, I hope you are learning. You know, that's what I hope. That's the goal. You know, the people that's been reaching out to me, I appreciate y'all. You know, I appreciate y'all, you know, reaching out to me for information and giving me information. Have a lot of people telling me, giving me tips on how to run the show, how to get over the reused content. You know, and I appreciate y'all because one thing about me, I'm a good listener. I'm a good listener. And I've been listening to the tips that y'all been giving me, and I love and I appreciate y'all for that. So with that being said, it's the one and only Stock Sniper. This is the Freedom of Speech channel. Over here, you can speak your mind. Over here, you can come over here and give me some tips. You know, just don't tell me though, if we watching Donald Trump, do not tell me quit talking and play the president, because that's what got my monetization took. Just playing and playing it and playing it for hours and not saying anything. I'm not going to do that no more. But if I do that, I will delete the video. That's how we're going to play that. If I come on here and play Donald Trump or whatever worldly event for hours without saying nothing, from now on, when that happens, I will delete the video. So that's where we at right now. Appreciate everybody for giving me these tips. I love y'all for giving me these tips. So with that being said, it's the one and only Stock Sniper. Earn, spend less, make proper investments, and yes, learning in your education and listening to somebody giving you tips on how to do your content is an investment. I love and I appreciate y'all. Also, you teach that to your kids and your grandkids. It's all a learning experience. Me losing my monetization for reused content is a learning experience. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all, chat. To the next one. I'm out.